Coverage right now of what we understand is happening there in San Diego, in the Southland of California. Just outside, as I was mentioning, there of a major city. Poway is the name of the city. There, police are reporting a shooting incident at a synagogue, the Chabad synagogue. The Poway Sheriff Station tweeting moments ago, quote, "A man has been detained for questioning in connection with a shooting incident at the Chabad of Poway synagogue." Deputies were called to Chabad Way, which is the name of the road in front, just before 11:30 a.m. There are injuries. This is a developing situation. You see update number 1 that therefore indicates potentially here that they are aware that there is yet more information to come. Update number 2, update number 3, and that's why we start this hour with this story as we watch this shooting under. Joining me right now, former FBI Executive Assistant Director Sean Henry. Joining us by phone is retired ATF Special Agent in Charge and MSNBC terrorism contributor Jim Kavanaugh. So we don't have a lot of information. And unfortunately here, Sean, when we're looking at these situations, we get these little bits of information in the beginning. It could mean that because they have a shooter in custody at the moment, that we're more towards the middle or end of this process, which many of us hope so. In other cases where you have an active shooter, it can be the very opposite. What are you seeing in this in terms of the limited amount of information we have?
Well, you're right. It's very, very limited information. Everything is very preliminary. So law enforcement officers are looking at this in totality. First of all, if you've got somebody in custody, the first step of that is to ensure there's nobody else that poses a threat to the citizens of the community or anybody inside the synagogue. They are absolutely looking to see if there are any co-conspirators, if there are any devices that have been left behind. Is that building entirely clear? Law enforcement officers want to make sure that they're attending to the wounded. And then beyond that, after the initial threat has been mitigated, they will start their investigation. We don't know the cause, what the motivation is. This could be almost anything. It's somewhat suspect that it's a house of worship. We've seen attacks in the past, houses of worship by extremists. It happens to be the last day of Passover. That's another fact. Again, those are things law enforcement is considering when they're trying to determine the motivation, but those are just preliminary factors as they start to execute search warrants, interview victims, interview people around the facility who may have seen something. This will start to take a much greater shape and provide the answers that people are looking for.
Great.